I am slavery, but I have another word for you and you. I am slavery, but I have another word for you and you. Hey there, good afternoon, everybody. I wanted to just say thank you for joining me. This is probably, although I'm a summer person, my favorite time of year. So it's fun to be able to talk about things that we can do and ways that we can make this, really easy on ourselves and a lot healthier than we typically do. Although we're all going to go outside of what our typical diet is going to be. We're going to eat more, we're going to stress more, we're going to drink more, we're going to do all of these things that we know we shouldn't do, but it's fun. And so we all fall prey to it. I do myself. And so just wanted to talk over a few strategies to help get through that. So let's get started. Let me get my going here. There we go. Okay, so one of my favorite things is support people who really are motivated to improve their health. And that's why I'm here, is because I enjoy health. And my favorite thing in the world is for people to start to realize what it's like to be truly healthy and then to have control over their food, their lifestyle, their stress, their environmental factors, all of these things that go into being truly healthy. And so I want to move through this just to help you achieve your goals for this holiday season, but then of course moving forward, because a lot of these strategies are things that we can do throughout the year, and there are a lot of them are strategies that I personally do throughout the year. So by the end of this webinar, hopefully you'll have some good strategies that you can take with you over the next few weeks as we move through Christmas and into the new year, and then we start over again, right? So if you have any questions, you can jump on and just ask me questions. I have the Q&A up. I'll do my best to answer as we go through. Could be that I need to wait until the end. But if you have questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so I really want to begin with where we are right now. And so the holidays are here. We're excited. I've already been to, 2, sometimes 3 holiday parties in a week. Which is a little overkill, but it's okay because I enjoy that part of the season. I enjoy the parties and mingling and that kind of thing. And I do enjoy my wine and champagne too. So it's another part of this talk so we can learn to moderate a little bit. But the thing is, as we become adults, we start to stress and we think about all the money we're going to spend and all the people that we have to see that maybe we don't want to see. When as kids, we were just always excited about it. It was fun. It was joyous. We were waiting for whatever, maybe Santa, whatever it might be, but it was a lot of fun. And as we grow older, we just end up stressing about it. And so there was a survey conducted by Consumer Reports National Research Center, and it shows that 68% of the people are, what they're not looking forward to as far as holidays are concerned, are the crowds and the long lines. I'm one of those. I haven't stepped into a store all season for the most part, and probably won't. I will do everything online now because I'm old enough to where the crowds make me nuts, so I don't. 37%, and I'm one of these, is they're afraid of gaining weight. And I think that's a huge portion of us. Everybody's afraid of gaining weight because we just go a little bit out of control, right? 37% are afraid of getting into debt. Just don't. And then 28% are afraid of gift shopping. To me, that's the same as the crowds and the long lines. 25% traveling. And so, yeah, traveling, some of us are going long distances. I know we are. Some are flying long distances. So just the travel and the crowds right there can be enough to stress anybody out. 24%, it's seeing certain relatives, which, is kind of funny and kind of sad. But, hopefully we can move through this and turn that around and maybe be excited about seeing some of these people. 16% say having to attend holiday parties or events. Like I said, this is one of my favorite things. I enjoy it, but not everybody does. And so we want to not make that so stressful on ourselves. 15%, this is funny, 15% having to be nice. So I can only assume that that's being nice to people that we don't like. And I'll be honest, this happens to me too. And it's just a part of it, right? You have the office parties and the holiday parties, and there are times we're going to run into people that we just don't see eye to eye with, and that's okay. Let's move past it and figure out some things we can do to make it a little easier on ourselves. But there's so much joy. And so I think the goal, like I said, is to take this and turn it around a little bit. And let's see the good, let's see the joy, let's have fun with the season instead of seeing the negative, because truly the more positivity you put out, the more positivity is going to come into you. If you're putting negativity out there, if there's stress and anger and angst and all these things, that's what's going to come back to you. So think about that as we are moving through the seasons and any kind of stressful situation that you might be in. So I really think that this can be a good, healthy, fun part of the year. Okay. So what I want to do is have a little fun with this. So before we start going through some of these strategies, I kind of want to go through an exercise. And if you're able to do it, then that's great. And if you're not comfortable with it, that's fine too. But there's some things that I'm going to ask you, and I want you to think about. And so I'll go through it slowly. But I want you to have some ideas, some targets, some thoughts in mind that are clear to you about how you want this season to go for you. And no fuzzy thoughts, no things without clarity. So, but be really clear on what it is that you want to see out of this season, or even moving further outside of this season. So, a couple of questions that I have for you. And again, if you want to post them in the Q&A, feel free. If not, that's fine. Just keep them to yourself. First one is, who would you spend time with? If in your ideal holiday season, who are the people you would spend time with? Okay. What foods would you eat? What presents would you purchase? Fun part. What gifts would you receive? I always have a hard time with this one. So mine are always too expensive. Where would you be located? Where would you spend your holiday season? And then how would you define this season as successful? Okay. So everybody's keeping it to themselves. That's okay. So I think every successful outcome begins with a clear plan, and having that clear plan of where you're going and how you want things to look and how you want to feel. One of the things that I try to do is, and actually learned this in a church service one time, but was to think of the future, think of how things will feel. So, for example, because we've all done this, how do you feel when you eat too much? Right? We get bloated, we're uncomfortable, we want to sit around, we're unmotivated, we don't want to go out, we don't want to do anything, we don't even want to clean the kitchen. All of these things are, you just feel, well, for me, just fat, and it's not fun. And sometimes it's painful, and sometimes it creates a tummy ache, and it can do, all kinds of stuff depending on what you eat. And for me also, before I realized I was gluten-free, and even after, gluten sensitive, and even after realizing I was gluten sensitive, back a couple of years ago, I ate it anyway, and I'm going to tell you, my face blew up. And so I think about that also, do I really want to eat a bunch of stuff with gluten in it and live for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months because my face blows up that badly for that long with these pimples on my face? And my answer is no way. That's not fun for me. Nor do I want to experience the intense discomfort of feeling, bloated and uncomfortable. So those are things that I think about. I think about what's it going to be like if I decide to do this. And so we'll get a little bit more into this, but being aware of your body, how you feel, your thoughts, your actions, those are all really, really important in helping you to move forward in a positive way, right? Okay, so I'm going to share some strategies and some recipes and that kind of thing, but here's the thing that I want you to consider is let's not make this a jacuzzi experience, which I think is kind of a funny thing to say, but jacuzzis feel great, they're fun, they're comfortable, but they don't offer much value, right? Especially if you're in a jacuzzi that's full of chlorine. Anyway, side note, no one's really changing their life by spending 45 minutes in a hot tub. Now, I'll take that back a little bit and say if you're in a salt hot tub and you're meditating, I think that that's a really beneficial thing to do. But what we want to do is really just take this to heart and consider all of the things that we can do to help us to create good habits. Even if we already have good habits, there are probably a few habits that we can make a little bit better. All right, moving on. Okay, so the first thing we talked about, and I hit on this a little bit, is just being aware. Self-awareness is probably one of the most important things we can do. So being aware of how you're feeling, of what you're thinking, of the food that you're eating. So let's talk about that just real quick, because this is something that I talk about a lot, but I think it's really important to really take it to heart, because when we eat, our body is supposed to be set in a place to eat. So it's called rest and digest. Most of the time where we are is we're in a fight or flight mode, which means what happens in these two different states, if you follow me at all, you have heard me say this because it's so, so important. But what happens to so many of us is we become stressed and we stay in this elevated stress mode, and we have elevated cortisol levels, and we stay in this fight or flight mode. What happens physiologically is the blood that is supposed to be at the core to help our body to utilize food and break down nutrients, it goes to the extremities. So it's there because we're running from a attacker. We're running from back in the, paleo days, we're running from the saber-toothed tiger. These things that are innately inside of us which, these are things our body is supposed to do. But if we are constantly in this fight or flight mode, we are not breaking down our food. We're not utilizing our nutrients, and we become malnourished. We lose good nutrients for building bone, for building muscle tissue, for skin, wrinkles, right, or lack thereof. So we have to bring it back into a rest and digest state, because then the blood goes from the extremities to the core, and then it allows the body then to break down the food, utilize the nutrients, and we are in a calm place where we actually can utilize the nutrients within the food. Now, another thing you'll hear me say over and over again is food is communication for our cells and for our DNA. So if we're not breaking down those nutrients, we're not communicating. Our body doesn't know what to do. And so if we are breaking it down, our body is getting all of the right messages. It's getting clear, concise messages, and then it knows how to function, okay? Okay, so really important to take your food, enjoy what's around you, not work, not have the TV. Even if you're with family, that's calming and it's fun, or let's at least make it calming and fun. And focus on your food, smell it, pray over it if you pray, meditate, but appreciate it, because this is physiologically, it makes biochemical changes in your body and allows you to utilize your food. Okay, so moving on. So again, I digressed a little bit, but the things that I want you to be aware of beyond what we just talked about when it comes to this time of year are the foods and the drinks you put in your body, right? And we really want to be aware of that all the time. But I would also throw out there, again, this is all the time, is the stuff you put on your body. So what I know is for my family, we get stocking stuffers. And my family really is mostly really healthy. But I know what can happen is we get these lotions and these perfumes and these things that smell good and all of these great, wonderful things that end up being just full of chemicals, hormone disruptors. They're really, really bad for the body. So, what do? You don't use them, you probably shouldn't regift them, but it's a matter of being aware of the ingredients in your food, in your drink, in your environment, and the chemicals that you're using in your environment, as well as what you're putting on your skin. Your skin takes everything in. And so you really want to understand that the perfume that you're putting on, the makeup that you're putting on, the hair care products, the lotions, all of those things are going to affect you either positive or negatively. Okay? Positively or negatively. Okay. So another thing to be aware of is the time you allocate to be with your family. The money that you spend. This is my husband's job. He's always aware of the money that I spend. The attitude that shows up when you're traveling, which can be super, super stressful, especially if you're going to airports and that kind of thing. So just try to keep a peace. People, it's interesting how the kind of ugly side can come out in people. So be aware. It's happened to me. Being on both sides. So just be aware of that. And I work really hard these days at being calm. The amount of physical activity that you do, don't stop being active. And then the people that you interact with, right? You want to be around positive people. That helps you to be positive as well. So the goal is to ask yourself questions as you engage in any of these activities. So something to think about, if you are, this happens a lot. It used to happen to me a lot more than it does now, but we always have the tables, especially at big functions, church functions, where people just bring just buckets of cookies, right? And so they all look amazing. We want to try one or the other. So the things that you want to really do is, again, you're putting yourself in that situation from an hour later or 2 hours later. How do you feel, right? So, ask yourself the question, how does the decision to load up on the cookies serve you versus having maybe one, okay? And will it get me closer to my ideal holiday season? So feeling good, feeling strong, feeling motivated. And then is there a better choice that will help to achieve the goal? And sure, yeah, if you have 3, the better choice probably is 1. One's not the worst thing in the world, but just think about how it's going to affect you, especially if there are things like sugar issues, if you're diabetic, if you have gluten sensitivities, things like that, or any other kind of food sensitivities. What's it going to do? Let's see. So one of the things that I think about too, and I think it happens to a lot of people, is, spending time with family. For me, it's one of the best things in the world. I enjoy it. I love it. All sides of my family are amazing. But I do know that there are difficulties in families. And so, just think about in those situations, am I, and this is that you can't control anybody else, but am I showing up as the character I want to be in the situation, right? Will I be proud of the way I act during the event, the party, the gathering? And what can I do to be the best version of myself regardless of the circumstances? So again, it's about owning our own actions and bringing in that calm and that peace and knowing that you're doing the very best that you can, right? So self-awareness is not always easy, but I think it's a great place to begin. You know, where are some of the places that we can begin to move forward in being aware of what we're doing. All right. Okay, so fundamentals. Some of the things that we want to talk about is understanding that food is fuel, and we don't want to overfuel, which many of us do. I've already done it, and it just really makes me unhappy. But you know, food is good. Food is life. You know, it's why I named my company Taste Life Nutrition. It is life. It tastes good, but it's more than that. It's like I said, it's communication for our cells and for our DNA. But overfueling is not a good thing either. So you can control what you eat. You know, it goes back to being aware, okay? One of the things that I would say is don't skip meals, and we're gonna get a little bit more into this in a few minutes when it comes to meals. But what you don't want to do is go to a party hungry, but I also don't want to tell you that you're supposed to eat 3 meals or 5 meals a day, because everybody's different. And if you're doing intermittent fasting and you're not eating breakfast, then that's okay. Keep your habits, but just try not to veer too much outside of your current habits that are already working for you. Chew your food really well. Slow down, chew your food, rest and digest. Digestion begins in the mouth. And I would say, you know, do your best to fill your plate only once. Sometimes that's really hard, but fill it with colorful vegetables. Some people can do fruit, some people can't. My goal is to make sure that people eat more vegetables, because that is so, so important. Meat is important. Good, healthy meat is important. More is important for some people. Less is important for others. I can't tell you what that is for you unless I'm working with you, because I need to see your genetics. But fat is also very important. Some people need more, some people need less, but everybody has to have vegetables. So eat as many vegetables as you can and put smaller portions of the other stuff, and that's really going to help. Be careful with the dressings and the junk and, you know, all of that stuff. Just be aware. If you have some good olive oil, put some good, nice olive oil on there. You know, a little Himalayan salt, pepper. It's delicious. Okay. And one of the things that I hear a lot is to say no to gravy. And I would say in most instances that's true. The gravy is fat, not always bad, right? Not usually bad. It depends on the source of the fat. It also, there's added flour. So personally, what I do is I love gravy, and I think I make a pretty flipping good gravy that is from a healthy pastured animal. It also does not include flour. So I take the drippings from whatever meat I'm cooking, I put it in the Vitamix, I roast some garlic and I roast some onions, and I put it all in the Vitamix, and then I add maybe some chia seeds to thicken it up like it is gravy. And it's delicious. Salt, pepper, rosemary, thyme, whatever it is you want to add to the gravy, but it is a delicious gravy, and it's a healthy gravy. So don't be afraid of gravy. Make your own gravy. That's one of the best things when you're going to parties, is that you have, for some, the ability to make your own stuff, and to ensure that you're going to have some healthy options. Okay, another great thing to think about is stocking your freezer and your refrigerator with food that is healthy. Don't bring in the junk into your house, because you're going to have enough junk when you go to other places. So in order to have a little bit of control, some people do really good with food prep one day of the week, Saturday or Sunday. I personally don't, because we're usually outside playing with dogs, going in the mountains, that kind of thing. But when I do make meals, I tend to make larger meals so we have good leftovers. And I utilize the freezer all the time. And I put things in the freezer that I can pull out that are easy, and we have something quick and easy to eat. So thinking about those things ahead of time, so you're able to be more aware and more effective in reaching your goals. Okay. All right. So buffets. Who doesn't love a buffet? We just came back from Vegas, and there are buffets everywhere. I can't even, this one buffet, it was like 5 buffets in one. It's amazing. Most of it, fortunately, was gluten. So there's a lot of stuff I didn't eat. Anyway, the buffets they're great. Everybody brings something fun and delicious. And, we have, some really amazing cooks, and you just want to try it all. And I think it's not a bad thing necessarily, but we want to still be aware and be conscious of what we're eating. And so things to think about: have a smaller plate. I think that's, it just helps a little bit with portion control, smaller bites. It's not the worst thing in the world to have a bite of something or a couple of bites. It's when we just totally overdo it and we have too much. That's what can create an issue. And again, this is not just for the holiday season. This is throughout the year. So just being aware and having control, so what you can say something like, I, Nikki, will not be defeated by the buffet. And just keep that going in your mind, because those things, if you keep them in your mind, it will happen. It's the sort of the manifesting, right? You have the ability to control what you're doing. Okay. We talked about this just a little bit earlier. We talked about eating before you go somewhere, especially if there's a buffet, right? Or if there's people bringing lots of food. Don't starve yourself before going out, because you're more likely to overeat on the things that you shouldn't. Have some food, eat normally. If you eat breakfast, have your breakfast, eat your lunch, and then go. Just don't go to these parties starving, because then it just really creates more of a situation of downfall that you don't want to happen. So even if it's, drink a smoothie, something like that before you head out, just again, be aware of how you're feeling so you're not starving, and so you have that control. We could say the same thing when we go to the grocery store. How many times have I gone to the grocery store and come back with 2 bags of chips and a thing of coconut ice cream? I actually did it the other day, but that wasn't my fault. That was my husband's. But but having, just our belly controls so much of us. If we're hungry, we're going to grab stuff and eat it. So have some food in your belly. Drink lots and lots of water. Drink lots of water. That's really important to feeling full, to staying hydrated, to feeling good. And then when we move on to alcohol here in just a minute, obviously with that as well. So, all right. Oh, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is when we go to, and I'll give you the website. I don't have it anywhere in here because I just thought about it. But one of the things that I did for Thanksgiving was a recipe that I found from wellnessmama.com. If you don't know her website, she's amazing. And so it's a grain-free dressing. And what made me think about this was, if you're going to a party where you can bring food, that's when you have the ability to bring the options that are going to be healthy, that you can, if you do overeat a little bit, you don't have to feel really guilty for it. And so this grain-free dressing had, and I'm probably going to do it again for Christmas, but it had parsnips and sweet potatoes and the rosemary and the thyme. It was beautiful. I just totally fell in love with it, and I'll probably do it all year long too. So wellnessmama.com, it's called grain-free dressing. Great stuff. So you might want to give that a try, but think about that. Think about taking the good foods with you to eat, so you don't have to worry about some of the other stuff that comes. All right. Alcohol. Alcohol is not healthy, even if it's red wine. I know that that's what we hear. Alcohol or red wine does have resveratrol in it. It also has many, many other damaging properties in it. Now, I drink wine, and I love champagne. And, before I was gluten-free, I really enjoy beer. But it's with an understanding that it's not healthy for us, right? It's not a good thing. So we really want to moderate it as much as we can. And just be aware. We can get resveratrol. I use resveratrol constantly in practice, constantly. It's amazing stuff, super anti-inflammatory. I've seen amazing benefits from it. But you're not going to get it, not what you need, from wine. So the other thing is it's just empty calories. It turns into sugar. You know, the liver has a hard time with it. You know, none of it is really going to be a good thing for you. So moderate. You know, I have a friend who actually, she'll drink a glass of white wine and she'll put ice in it, like a lot of ice. And so she's drinking a lot of water with her wine. And not everybody can do that and wants to do that, and that's okay. But that is her way of moderating and also getting hydrated at the same time, because alcohol is super dehydrating. So drink water as much as you can. Flavor your water. One of my favorite ways to drink water is by using SodaStream. I don't add any of the chemical flavors to it. I might add some lemon or lime or something like that. But, you know, it's good stuff. The SodaStream is the carbonated. If you like carbonated water, which I do, it's amazing. But drink as much water as you can and then continue that habit throughout the year. Okay. What we tend to do, I think, and I know I do, I'm always thinking about what am I going to cook and what, you know, what's going to be fun and looking at recipes. So we focus a lot on food. The holidays really have been, well, I think families, it's all focused on food. We love food. We love to eat. It's warm and it's fun and it makes us feel good, right? So it's a great thing. Food is amazing. But kind of jumping outside of that a little bit, when there's so much focus on food during the holidays, and getting outside, playing games, playing active games, you know, make your brain work, make your body work, you know, create some new fun traditions, you know, whatever those might be for your family. But get out and move, go for a hike. I know that my neighbor recently, or it was last week, asked me if I wanted to go do the incline at Pikes Peak, which is, I think it's a elevation of 2,000 feet. It was really hard. It was really hard. I'd love to say that I'll do it again. Maybe I will. I may not, but it was really hard. But it was great. It was outside of my comfort zone. We got out. We had fun. We breathed a lot of really cold mountain air. And it was amazing. We had a really good time. So, you know, get outside of your comfort zone a little bit. Have fun with it. You know, there are always lots of, you know, holiday 5Ks and that kind of thing. So, enjoy the movement. And then of course, again, take that with you outside of the holiday season. So, you know, like this is sort of a continuation. Some of the things that you can think about that might be beneficial for you to get creative. And I have friends that do this all the time, but you know, go to the mountains and get your tree. So that's really cool. You have to get it here. You have to get a permit. But go get your own tree. So you're hiking up, you get the tree, come out, you know, go dancing. There's, you know, people go dancing all the time. You might want to help keep you on track, find a partner that helps you to go to the gym or to go to yoga, or you go walk your dogs or ride your bike or whatever it is that helps to keep you on track. And then, one of the things that I love, and I try to do this, I'm trying to do this more regularly, but you know, periodically while you're, I know for me, while I'm at my desk, I need to get up. So get up and do some exercises for a few minutes and sit back down. So make a point of every hour getting up, do 5 minutes of jumping jacks, you know, running in place, do some push-ups, some sit-ups, that kind of thing, just to get the body moving, because we sit too much. It's been said that sitting is the new smoking, which is really scary. Lots of people are dying from smoking. And we don't move enough. I know I'm really guilty of that. I have a hard time getting away from my computer because it's where I do my research. It's where I work with clients. It's where I work with everybody, not everybody, but it's where I do so much of my stuff, business development, marketing, webinars, right? I'm at my computer all the time. But I did, and I'm on it now, just recently get a standing desk. And that's been really helpful. So, and it wasn't very expensive. So depending on what your situation is, think of those things. And maybe you ask for a standing desk for Christmas. That would be good. Okay, let's see. You can wear a pedometer. Lots of people like to wear pedometers. And let's move on from there. So one of the things that I've talked about a few times that I think is really important that I am practicing really, really regularly now is being calm and doing some meditation and starting your day. You can start with gratitude. You can start it with meditation. You just start with being quiet. Get up, go to your place, wherever that place is. I have a little place in my home where it's warm. The vent blows in there, during the winter. And I have a blanket. And when I meditate, I like to lay down when I meditate. I like to have my feet up and lay down when I meditate. So I can lay there and just be calm. I even sometimes will put on guided meditation app on my phone. So I'll hear that as I'm meditating. I'll also do some prayer, and I will do some gratitude journaling, and I will plan out my day. And I will literally visualize and write out and think about what my day is going to be like. And this is how I have learned to bring calm to myself and to not be overly stressed with whatever life is bringing to me. And I find that it's really helpful. And I think starting something like this in the holiday season to help with the stress that goes along with it, and then moving, I can't say it enough, but moving that outside of it and continuing it, because that's what we do, is we live a life of stress for a lot of us. I mean, part of my intake is, what are your stress levels? And I'm going to tell you, most everybody are 7 and up. And so it's not an easy world, easy life that we live, but it's all full of greatness and joy and lessons to be learned. So we have to take it in stride. And so this practice has really helped me. Another thing that I've said before, when it's warm here, during the middle of the day, the best thing that I can do is get up from my desk, go outside, because I crave the warmth of the sun, and I'll lay down on our bench out there. And my intent may be to be out there for 5 minutes, but because of the place the sun puts me in, I might be out there 20 minutes. But it's a really, again, it's getting away from the stress and changing the biochemistry of the body to bring those cortisol levels and those stress hormone levels down. Really important. I'm going to tell you this. I've said this a million times. Stress shrinks the brain. Literally, it shrinks the brain. Stress is very, very hard. Probably the worst thing that we can do for our brain is to be in a state of chronic stress. So remember that. Stress shrinks the brain. So go meditate, even if it's for 5 minutes. Put yourself in a calm place. All right. You can do some deep breathing. It will make such a difference in your life. I have seen it over and over and over again. Okay, let's see. That one. Be generous, right? And so it doesn't mean go spend a bunch of money. It just means give your time, write a note, gratitude, be grateful for what you have and what you may have the ability to give, whether it's time or a gift or whatever it is. It makes us, giving makes us grateful. It, for me, it gives me gratitude that I have the ability to give, whatever that is. And so, I think generosity is different for everyone, but it really puts you in a good place to have that giving spirit, which is, a lot of what this season is about. It's different for everyone. For me personally, it's Christ's birth. But then, all of that, is giving. So it's just why I love this time of year so much, and try to stay away from the junk that this time of the year brings, and move myself into all of the happiness and the joy that this time brings. Okay. Oh, there's a quote by Anne Frank that says, "No one has ever become poor by giving." I think that's really beautiful. Okay, a couple of recipes. These are, the paleo recipes. I talked about this in the last webinar a little bit, but what does paleo mean? Paleo does not mean high fat, does not mean high protein. Paleo is a lifestyle. Paleo is eating healthy meats, pastured, grass-fed, natural meats that are not conventionally raised. It's about eating healthy fats. It's about avoiding grains, especially gluten, but anybody that eats paleo avoids grains. Not everybody has to do that. So I'm not saying paleo is the way for everyone, except for what it's based on. It's based on eating good, healthy, real foods that come from the earth and not the junk food that is thrown in our faces all the time. So I've got some plant-based recipes. Of course, there's Healthy Thanksgiving, for next year. And then some Christmas recipes. And I thought I took that low calorie option off. You might like that. I'm not a fan of counting calories. So did not mean for that to be in there, but doesn't matter. You could probably some good stuff in there, but counting calories is not how we want to live our life. Calories are, some people will say it's calorie in, calorie out. That's absolutely not the case. It's about the food that you put in your body. So if you're eating 500 calories worth of French fries or 500 calories worth of vegetables, what's your body going to do? It's going to react either unwell because it doesn't recognize the junk, especially like McDonald's French fries. Let's go as far extreme as we can, right? So it doesn't recognize these French fries, McDonald's French fries, as food, so it doesn't know what to do. Again, the communication is lacking. You eat vegetables, there's communication, our body knows what to do. So calorie restriction under certain circumstances can be good. Think intermittent fasting, but we don't want to do intermittent fasting all the time. This is why I do what I do, because there is no one size fits all for anyone. We want to look at labs. We want to look at symptoms. We want to look at the body. We want to look at lifestyle. We have to put all things together to understand what one particular person needs in order to thrive. Okay, so counting calories, it's just no fun. I hate it. I won't do it. There are a few times, every now and then, there are a couple of situations where I say let's do it for a short period of time, not for long though. Sorry, I didn't even have you on the recipes. So there are the recipes. I didn't move forward. I was looking at my notes. So these are the recipes. If you registered for this, then I'll send you this the recording, and so you'll have the recipes. So you don't necessarily need to copy them down here. Okay. All right. And then what action will you take? Will you allow the holidays to kind of take control over your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, your body, or will you thrive? Will you be aware and understand what actions you're taking to move into a good, healthy 2019? We're going to be exposed to foods. We're going to be exposed to people that we may not enjoy as much. And then the travel and so many different things. But we have the ability to control all of this stuff, right? So just keep that in mind and know that you can do it. I can do it, even though I don't always do as well as I should. I know I've had, one too many glasses of wine a couple of times already. But it's the way that it goes, right? And so we don't beat ourselves up. We move on and we continue making good decisions and thinking about the decisions that we make. If we decide to make a bad decision, at least we're aware of it. We make the decision and we move on, right? Okay. Let's see. And so if you have questions, if there's anything that I can do for you, there's anything that you need, again, feel free to ask me any questions that you might have here. And if I just covered everything beautifully and you don't have any questions, then that's great as well. You can always go to my website. You can email me. You can go to my Facebook page. All of those places you can get hold of me and let me know if there's something either that you need for me to talk about, or you have questions about, or you have questions about my services, or whatever the case may be. Just let me know, because that's why I'm here. I'm here to support you in whatever capacity you need. So just let me know, and thank you for being here. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday and a Merry Christmas. and a happy Hanukkah, and all of the amazing things that go on this year. It's just such a beautiful time. So I hope that you enjoy it as much as I do. And the big stuff that we've been waiting for. $50 off a 2-hour functional nutrition health evaluation. That is my intake, essentially. That is my first meeting where I try to understand what your needs are and how we can best move forward, what labs we need to do, what your history looks like, what your symptoms look like, and what we need to do to help move you forward to whatever your goals might be. So $50 off of the functional nutrition health evaluation, and then 20% off a 4 or 6 month program. I can't tell you until I know your situation whether you would be in a good spot for a 4 or 6 month program. It could be that you're a 8, 9, 10 month program. It just really depends on your situation, but it's 20% off. So just, when I send this, you should be able to download this. You can mention it if you give me a call, but that will expire the end of February. Okay. And last but not least, you can go to my website and you can take my functional health assessment. The assessment is something that I do for people who come in to my practice. So it's something that I do regularly. So if you decide to see me, you won't have to do this piece of it, but it really helps to give you a good idea of what it is that I do and what it is that's going on with your body. So it breaks things down by organ system, by symptoms, and helps us to see what things might be going wrong or what things might be going right in order for us to start a conversation about what we need to do to move forward. So you can go to my website. You can also do this bit.ly link. It'll take you straight to the assessment. So again, thank you all. I really appreciate you being here. Let me know if you have questions, and I hope you have a really amazing holiday season. We'll see you next time. Bye.